Before pizza became something that arrived quietly at your door in a cardboard box, it was an event. It was a place you went, not a button you pressed. In 1980s America, pizza parlors were not just restaurants. They were Friday night rituals, birthday headquarters, teenage meeting spots, and family traditions wrapped in melted cheese and warm air. And if you stay with this journey to the end, you'll start remembering things you didn't even realize you had forgotten. Pizza had already been part of American life for decades, but the 1980s were when pizza truly took over. Every town had a pizza place. Every neighborhood had a favorite. Pizza was dependable, affordable, and somehow always felt like a treat. It was what you ate after little league games, after school events, after long work weeks, after anything worth celebrating. But the real magic wasn't just the food. It was the experience of going there. The typical independent pizza parlor had a look you could recognize instantly. From the outside, it often sat in a small strip plaza or on a busy corner. Brick walls, maybe stucco, sometimes wood paneling, a wide front window, and above the entrance, glowing in soft neon light, the name. Usually simple, usually personal. Tony's, Cel's, Tino's, Luigi's. The name told you this was someone's place, not a corporate design pulled from a manual. That front window was important, because through it, you could often see the heart of the operation. The pizza maker, flour-dusted apron, dough spinning in the air, hands moving with confidence. There was something mesmerizing about watching dough fly upward, stretch, and land perfectly back in waiting hands. Kids stopped to stare. Adults slowed their walk. Even before you stepped inside, you were already part of the show. Then came the door. That heavy glass door with the metal frame and the small bell that rang when it opened. And the moment it swung inward, the smell hit you. Not a mild scent. A full, unmistakable wave. Garlic, warm bread, tomato sauce, melted cheese, yeast from rising dough, maybe a hint of smoke from the oven. It was the kind of smell that instantly made you hungry, even if you weren't hungry when you walked in. Pizza parlors had a warmth that modern restaurants rarely carry. Part of it came from the ovens, always radiating heat into the room. Part of it came from the lighting. Soft, slightly dim, never harsh. Neon beer signs glowed red, blue, and yellow along the walls. Hanging lamps cast gentle pools of light over tables. In winter, the warmth felt comforting. In summer, it made the room a little hot, but nobody minded. That heat was part of the environment. Inside, the decor followed a pattern that repeated across America. Red and white checkered tablecloths. Red vinyl booths lining the walls. Wooden chairs that scraped slightly against tiled floors. Fake brick walls decorated with framed pictures of Italy, even if the owners had never been there. Italian flags. Pennants. Murals of quiet European streets. It wasn't elegant, but it was familiar. Cozy. Honest. And then there were the candles. The legendary Chianti bottles turned into candle holders. Wax dripping down the sides like frozen waterfalls. Layer upon layer from years of burning. No one questioned it. No one found it strange. That melted wax became part of the visual language of pizza parlors. Menus were rarely complicated, either printed on laminated cards or displayed on boards behind the counter. Pizza came first. Always pizza. After that came toppings. Pepperoni, sausage, mushrooms, green peppers, onions, black olives, anchovies. The classics. No endless gourmet options. No strange combinations. Pizza toppings in the 1980s followed a stable, predictable order. Pepperoni ruled everything. It was the default choice. The safe choice. The universal choice. Half the tables had pepperoni pizzas. The smell of sizzling pepperoni grease blending with melted cheese became the signature aroma of American pizza nights. Ordering itself was simple but carried its own rhythm. Sometimes you ordered at the counter. Sometimes a waiter came to your table. Many waiters had been working there for years. They knew regular customers. They remembered usual orders. They spoke with casual familiarity. Same as last time? Extra cheese again? Half mushrooms, half pepperoni? There was efficiency, but there was also personality. Pizza parlors weren't rushed environments. Nobody expected lightning-fast turnover. You came to sit, to talk, to stay a while. And once the order was placed, the waiting began. Pizza took time. Real time. 20 minutes. 30 minutes. Maybe more on busy nights. But unlike modern impatience-driven dining, the wait wasn't a problem. It was part of the ritual. Because waiting created something modern convenience removed: forced togetherness. Families sat and talked. Teenagers laughed loudly. Friends debated sports. Parents relaxed. There were no phones glowing on tables. No endless notifications. No silent distractions. Conversation filled the space naturally because there was nothing else competing for attention. To help pass the time, many pizza parlors featured the salad bar. The salad bar stood like a small island of choices under bright overhead lights. Stainless steel containers lined with familiar ingredients: iceberg lettuce, sliced tomatoes, cucumbers, shredded carrots, kidney beans, shredded cheese, pepperoncini, pasta salad, potato salad. The dressings were equally predictable. The plates were always smaller than you wanted them to be, which meant multiple trips, carefully stacking ingredients higher with each visit. Kids often turned salad bar visits into competitions, building unstable towers of lettuce and toppings. Unlimited salad bars carried a strange sense of freedom. You could go back as many times as you liked. It felt generous, slightly dangerous, slightly indulgent. Many children filled themselves with salad only to regret it when the pizza finally arrived. Then came the appetizers. Garlic bread was the undisputed favorite. A long loaf sliced open, buttered heavily, covered with garlic, toasted until the edges crisped. The smell alone could fill the table with anticipation. And no matter how much garlic bread arrived, it was never enough. It vanished quickly, slice by slice. On every table sat two essential objects: the Parmesan cheese shaker and the crushed red pepper flakes. The green cylindrical shaker with its metal top became as standard as salt and pepper. People shook Parmesan onto everything: pizza, garlic bread, salad. Sometimes excessively. No one judged. The environment of a pizza parlor was never silent. It had its own layered soundtrack. Plates clinking, glasses touching, chairs sliding, low music from hidden speakers, laughter, arcade machines beeping in the background, the distant metallic slam of oven doors opening and closing. Yes, the arcade machines. Nearly every pizza parlor had them, usually tucked into a corner or near the entrance. A small glowing cluster of electronic distraction. Pac-Man, Donkey Kong, Galaga, Defender, later, Street Fighter. Kids begged parents for quarters. Teenagers leaned against machines waiting for turns. The sounds of digital explosions and cheerful melodies blended seamlessly into the dining noise. Arcade corners served an unspoken function. They gave children independence. They gave parents peace. They created mini social spaces within the restaurant. And while everyone waited, ovens continued their silent work. Behind the counter, pizzas were assembled with practiced speed. Dough stretched by hand. Sauce spread in circular motions. Cheese scattered generously. Toppings placed with muscle memory. Then into the oven, where heat transformed simple ingredients into something irresistible. The arrival of a pizza was always dramatic. It came on a round metal pan, often elevated on a stand placed at the center of the table. Cheese still bubbling. Steam rising. The smell intensifying instantly. Conversations paused briefly. Eyes focused. Hunger sharpened. And despite knowing better, someone always grabbed the first slice too soon. The result was predictable. Molten cheese. Scalding sauce. Burnt. Everyone experienced it. Everyone repeated the mistake. Burning the roof of your mouth became an unofficial part of pizza eating. But that first bite, once cooled enough to survive, delivered everything you had waited for. Stretching cheese. Chewy crust. Rich sauce. Slight grease from pepperoni pooling at the center of slices. Pizza in the 1980s felt substantial, filling, comforting. Pizza parlors were never just about food. They were environments where life happened. Teenagers arrived in noisy groups after football games. Families celebrated report cards. Little league teams filled long tables pushed together. Birthdays meant multiple pizzas and pitchers of soda. Pitchers were essential. Pepsi or Coke, depending on the establishment. Refilling your own glass felt casual and communal. Unlimited soda felt like a luxury. And through it all, pizza parlors remained steady, dependable fixtures of American life. But this was only part of the story. Because beyond the independent neighborhood pizza joints, something else was reshaping pizza culture across the country. Large chains, new business models, new expectations. A transformation that would quietly change how Americans experienced pizza forever. If these memories feel familiar, you're not alone. Pizza parlors were more than places to eat. They were places where evenings stretched longer, conversations felt easier, and simple moments became lifelong memories. And we're just getting started.